All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, we've got two athletes in men's open bodybuilding that are out of the 2022 Mr. Olympia that qualified, were planning on competing, and now will no longer be there. Number one, that's going to be Hassan Mostafa. Now, unfortunately, Hassan posted a video on his YouTube channel detailing why he won't be at the 2022 Mr. Olympia for health reasons, and this comes just after talking about Sadiq Hadzovic pulling out of the men's physique Olympia for the exact same reason. Health issues towards the very end of his prep. Now, Hassan said specifically he had some kind of virus, he had some issues that led to poor health in his kidneys, and he said that the doctors advised him not to do anything that would, I guess, facilitate further decline in his kidney function, i.e. dehydration, which, as you guys know, the final stages of a bodybuilding prep, specifically peak week and right before the show, it's all about dehydration. It's all about losing water weight. It's all about thinness of the skin, seeing detail in the muscle, and one of the ways you achieve that is vast dehydration. So obviously this would not be good for his already unhealthy kidneys, and I believe what he's trying to explain is that it's because of whatever virus he had that his kidneys are unhealthy, because he said he would go on to continue to compete in 2023 after he has this issue resolved. So it doesn't sound like it's a long-term or chronic kidney issue. It sounds like something that came about as a part of whatever this virus was that he had, this stomach virus that he says he had. And this kind of explains, we had seen some recent updates of Hassan Mostafa at a couple weeks out, and he looked really off. And it was pretty noticeable how off he was, and I think that was probably a result of this virus that he had. I think he was probably sick and having these stomach issues, and that's why in some of the updates that we saw, he didn't look ready. He didn't look 2 or 3 weeks out. He looked pretty bad. And of course, I always think that these athletes should put their health above competing. And this is something I want to talk about in a future video. The Washington Post article that came out today talks about just this. And I don't entirely agree with what the Washington Post is doing, because I think essentially what they're doing, publishing all these articles about bodybuilding, they have an agenda of trying to, I guess, cancel the IFBB. It seems like they are just running this anti-pro bodybuilding campaign, which is kind of bizarre. But the most recent article they ran was this article about dying to compete, doing whatever it takes. So I think we should applaud a bodybuilder anytime they put their health above competing. When they get their blood work done or they get checked out and the doctor says don't compete and they say, okay, I'm not going to compete. We don't want them to push through an illness. We don't want them to compete when a doctor tells them not to. We want them to be able to make this decision to not compete and have their fans still be behind them. So I applaud Hassan Mostafa for making this decision and not trying to power through his prep anyway. Now, next up in the news, the other bodybuilder that is unable to compete at the Olympia this year, not through any choice of his own, but Behrooz Tabani, who we just saw beat Brett Wilkin a couple shows ago. He is an Iranian bodybuilder, and according to his coach, Milo Sarshev, he says Behrooz Tabani is going to miss out on the 2022 Mr. Olympia following a U.S. visa refusal for administrative processing under Section 221G of the United States Immigration and Nationality Act. So, again, with these visa issues preventing bodybuilders from competing in competition, specifically the Olympia, it just seems a little ridiculous at this point. All these immigration rules and all this red tape, it just seems kind of dumb. I mean, we saw Hadi Chupin struggle with this for a long time. There were many years where it seemed like he wouldn't even be able to get to the Olympia. Fortunately, he was able to. And it's just, these guys, they're trying to come over here and do their job. They're trying to compete and participate in a sport that they love. They're not coming over here for any nefarious reasons. They're doing bodybuilding. It just seems like such a shame to me and such a waste that they don't let these guys come over and compete. I mean, they're not doing anything wrong other than being from the country that they're from, which is deemed wrong, it seems like, just arbitrarily. I really think there needs to be some kind of visa reform with this whole process, because we see this all too frequently with these bodybuilders, and it just seems, it's just dumb. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about both of these guys being out of the Olympia. Now, next up in the news, I got to give Justin Rodriguez some credit here, because Justin looks pretty damn impressive at under 2 weeks out. Well, let's just say a week out at this point. Justin looks damn good, and I got to say, I'm surprised to see how good he looks considering the past few shows that he's done. He's looked pretty burnout. He barely qualified for the Olympia. He qualified on points. But Justin has had some impressive showings. His prejudging look at the Arnold Classic this year was very impressive. And I think had he kept that same look that he had at prejudging at the finals for the Arnold and not faded so bad, I think he could have been top 3. And this look reminds me of how he looked a couple days out from the Arnold. He looked this dry. He looked this grainy. He looked this vascular. He looks really good. I got to give him credit. And he could surprise us. Maybe he could crack the top 10. Last year he was 8th. But admittedly, I don't think that last year's lineup was as deep as it is this year. And again, the manner in which he qualified, I mean, there's 34, 35 guys. A lot of them qualified by winning a show. Justin is one of just 3 that didn't qualify from winning a show outside of the guys that had placings at the Olympia that qualified them to compete at the Olympia again. But I do want to give him some props here. He looks really big, he looks really full, but he looks hard, dry, vascular, grainy. And granted, he did find some pretty perfect goon light in this side tricep picture. I mean, man, he's nailing it there. Could Justin be more of a factor than we anticipated at this year's Olympia? I truly believe anything is possible in this lineup. Now, next up in the news, a physique update from Derek Lunsford. I'm assuming it's recent, that he posted recently. I'm assuming it's around 2 weeks out. He looks big, man. I think Derek is really one of the true wild cards in this lineup. In my predictions, I've got him top 6 in both my original predictions and my quote-unquote fan predictions. Derek, I think, can really do some damage here. I think a lot of people are counting him out because he came from 212. A lot of people assuming that he might not have the size to compete with the big boys. But what we already know about Derek, let's just put the size to the side. Crazy conditioning. He's working with Hani Rambod. Beautiful structure. Very aesthetic. Small waist, V-taper, wide shoulders, wide back. His legs look improved. Size-wise, I think he's probably going to be close to 240, maybe mid-230s, high 230s. He was 260 at the guest posing in Pittsburgh. I think he's got everything that a bodybuilder needs to be dangerous in an open lineup. I don't think he's going to be small. I think this update is exemplary of that. I think Derek's got everything it takes, and I think he's going to give people a lot tougher time than people are anticipating him to. For me, he really is one of the biggest what-ifs in this lineup in terms of talking about anything could happen. Derek is a guy where I feel like anything could happen. He could come in, his conditioning could be off because he's trying to play the size game. He could come in and not be a factor at all. He could come in and be outside the top 10. He could come in, look pretty good, and be top 6. Or he could come in and look phenomenal, and he could be top 3. And the final story that I have for you guys today, hopefully this video doesn't get age restricted like it did yesterday. Yesterday's video, we talked a little bit about Iain Valliere's glute update, and that got the video age restricted. This time he posted a shot of his abs where he says he's dry. And Iain, again, I think he is kind of a little bit of a wild card because he was 7th last year. Could he be higher? Could he be lower? I think he's going to place lower, but there is the possibility he could place higher. He's one of the bigger guys in this lineup. I believe he's still weighing in the 270s this close to the show. He is dry. He is in pretty good shape. But I am still going to stick with my prediction that he places lower than 7th this year. Will he prove me wrong? Maybe. Will he prove me right? Maybe. That's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe for more Olympia coverage, all that great stuff. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.